So welcome back to the final part of lesson 22.5 of Algebra 1B Credit 5, solving a system of linear quadratic equations algebraically. So you see we're given a system of equations algebraically. We're given one equation and another. We are not going to solve this graphically. Instead, we're going to solve it algebraically. So the first thing they ask us to do is to solve for y. So the first thing we're going to do is do the opposite of subtracting 2x, which is to add 2x to both sides. So that would be plus 2x and plus 2x. So that would be y equals positive 2x plus 14. Okay. So now that we've done step one, which is to solve, what we're going to do is, it says to set up two expressions for y equals each other. So here, put y equals y. We're going to put the first equation on one side and the second equation on the other. We are going to expand the exponent. So one of the things we learned about that is x plus 3 squared is just x plus 3 times x plus 3, and that would be x squared plus 3x plus 3x plus 9, and that would be x squared plus 6x plus 9. So as you can see here, yes, they combined it. We can combine like terms for both these two and these two. And that would be 6x and 14. We'll go ahead and subtract 2x from both sides. And what that does is gets us 4x on this side and 14 here. We'll then subtract 14 from both sides. We get this. And then we'll factor out what they have in common. They both have an x in common. So I have an x plus 4 equals 0. And we're going to set each one of these factors equal to 0. So x equals 0 and x plus 4 equals 0. Let's solve this out. What's the opposite of a positive 4? Negative 4, right? So that would be x equals 0 and x equals negative 4. Moving on, they ask us then to take our answers and substitute it back in. So this is already done for you on your packet. 2 times 0, which is 0, right? And 0 plus 14 would be 14. Here they write in for 2 times negative 4 plus 14. Working that out, that would be negative 8 for multiplying these two together, and adding this would be 6. So that means our two solutions are 0, 14, and negative 4, 6. Alright, let's try a couple of these out where we're going to be solving algebraically. First step we're going to do is we're going to take that second equation, which is not does not have y by itself. We're going to go ahead and solve. What's the opposite of an adding 4? Subtracting 4, right? So we're going to cross those out, and y is going to be equal to 3x minus 4. We're then going to set each one of these equal to each other. So the first equation we'll write out, and the second equation. We'll go ahead and expand out x minus 2 squared. We're going to write that out. What would x times x be? Negative 2x, and positive 4. So that would be our expanded form. We're going to go ahead and write down the right side, which hasn't changed much. We're going to combine like terms here. And that would be x squared minus 4x plus 6 equals 3x minus 4. We're going to do the opposite of positive 3x, which is to subtract 3x, and that would be x squared minus 7x plus 6 equals negative 4. What's the opposite of a negative 4? Positive 4. So we'll do that to both sides, and we get 10 equals 0. We're going to go ahead and factor this out. Those would be the two factors there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set each one of these equal to 0 and solve each one of them out. What's the opposite of a minus 2? Positive 2, right? And opposite of a negative 5? Positive 5. So on the last step, we're going to take those two values that we found, x equals 2, and plug it back in. 3 times 2 minus 4, which would be about 6. Take away 4, which would be about 2. So our result would be 2, comma 2. And for this next one, that would be x. Instead of x, we'll put the number 5 in. 3 times 5 is 15. 15 take away 4 is 11. And that would be our x value and our y value, 511. Okay? So our two solutions would be 2, 2 and 511. All right. The last one they're asking us to do is to solve both graphically and algebraically. I know the algebraic, we only had one problem where we got to practice that, so feel free if you want to solve graphically for the checkpoint and for your homework, feel free to do that. I'm going to go ahead and show you one more time how I can use Desmos. So I'll go ahead and show you that. So here is my my two two equations. So I'm going to go ahead and type in my internet browser, desmos.com, desmos.com. Yes, I want to leave this page. We're going to again go and start graphing, and it's going to load. And the next thing we're going to do is type in our equations so we can have a visual. Y equals, so y equals x squared minus 3. And for the next one, that would be y equals 3x minus 3. So I do know they cross. I can already tell what my solutions are, but I do want to create a table of values because you do have to graph. So I'm going to press that adding icon and create my table. I'm going to make this be x. And I'm going to write in my first equation, which is x squared minus 3. So you can see I don't have many numbers, so I'm going to go ahead and put in some numbers like negative 3, negative 2, negative 1. And when I press enter, notice how they kind of just autofill, which is kind of nice. For my next round of equations, I'm going to also put in y, or not y, but 3x minus 3. And notice how it already gives me my points, and you can already see that those popped up. So go ahead and make sure you're recording those in and graphing that out onto your table, as you can see I did here. So it looks pretty spot on to what my graph shows here. For your homework, make sure that you are doing 2 through 15 on a separate sheet of paper. If you do need graph paper, please come in and make sure you are doing all of those from that lesson. All right, I hope this was useful, and I'll see you in the next class.